Hi there. Say, if you missed our comma lesson the other day on fanboy and because connectors, I wanted to touch base with you because I know that those two rules can be a little bit confusing and I know you can do this. So I'm going to explain what these are. So the fanboy comma connectors are little tiny ones. Because they're so tiny, they're going to need a comma in front of them when connecting two sentences. The words are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So you can see they're really tiny. They're just 2 or 3 letters. That's going to be important with helping your brain remember that they have to have a comma because they're so little. Okay, so when you have an independent clause, here and here, another word for an independent clause that we might be more familiar with is a complete sentence. So when you have that on both sides, you have to have this comma. It's required. So these 2 comma rules, it's either a required comma or cannot have a comma. So I'll give you an example with and, because for is a little bit funny. We don't use it a lot in the English language. So if you say, I love students, comma, and they make me laugh. Now, an independent clause or a sentence on each side means that you have a person and a verb, or a predicate and a verb. So if you have those 2 things right away in the sentence, they make, I love, then you know that you need a comma with fanboys. Now, if you don't have a complete sentence over here, I'm going to show you how that looks different. So now if we say, I love teaching and playing with my dog. So I know that on this side, I'm going to always have a complete sentence. So I have I and I have love. And then if I go over here, I'm missing the person. So I know it's not a complete sentence. If I were going to have a complete sentence, it would say, and I love playing with my dog. But because I don't have that, I can't have a comma here. So I only get a comma if I have right away a person and an action. So, pretty easy. That's rule number 1. The second rule is just as easy. Oh, I did forget one thing. Let me go get a prop. So to remember where the comma goes with a fanboy, those itsy bitsy little ones, I want you to think of this as a walking cane. So my 2nd grade teacher had a walking cane because she had macular degeneration and she couldn't see for about the last 30 years of her life. So she had to walk with a cane like this in order to not hit something. Now remember, she has to walk with the cane in front of her or she would hit a wall. She would trip over an outlet on our carpet. So remember, it has to go in front. So when you're doing your sentence and you come to the word and, it goes in front like a walking cane, okay? So don't forget that goes before. If you put it after, remember you're going to hit a wall if this was your comma, okay? So there's rule number 1. Now, rule number 2 is a because connector. Now, with the because connector, these are longer in general. And of course, because is the most popular because connector. And then we have before, even if, even when down here, or just the word when or just the word even though would work, etc. We're going to skip this one for a sec. After, until, and since. Now, I know you probably already know this stuff, but it's just a good reminder. So the C in the because says, comma, don't touch me. You can never have a comma here or here. You can never have a comma here or here. With a because, you can never have a comma before because. You can never have one touching it after. Comma, don't touch me. So you can have a comma in a different side of the sentence, but you can't have it before or after any of these connectors, please. So no comma touching these. So here's the way this rule works. You're going to have a sentence here, or an independent clause, and you're going to have a sentence here, pretty easy, and you're just going to have the word in the middle and no punctuation. So let's see. I went to college before I had kiddos. Okay, so I have two sentences, I have a connector. It is perfect just like that. Now, if I want to start with the because word, it's going to look a little bit different. So let's, we're going to use because here. Because it is fun, comma, I curl on Fridays at the Eau Claire Curling Club. So I start with a connector. Now you notice that I paused here and I had to have a comma. Otherwise, I don't know where the end of that sentence is. So because it's fun, comma, I curl on Fridays. Here's my sentence. Here's my sentence. By the way, it always starts a sentence. So anytime you see the word it starts a sentence. So here's my sentence, here's my sentence, here's my connector, and you can only have one connector with two sentences. So you're not going to have another connector in here unless it came here and a third sentence. So if you said because it's fun, I curl on Fridays, comma, and I have 50 friends at the curling club, that would work because you have three sentences. The way that a connector goes is you have sentence, connector, sentence. You could have one more and another sentence. You can only have one because in a sentence. You can only have one fanboys in a sentence is a good rule. So if you have three sentences, you could have two connectors. If you only have two sentences, you can only have one connector. Now remember that connector can actually go here with a comma. So I hope that that makes sense. Just kind of look up what those are if you need. Go back to the start of this video and you'll see the most common because words. I think there's 28 of those, but there are only 7 fanboys. For, or, nor, so, but, and, yet, or the way that I showed you the other way spelling fanboys. The way I learned was FANBOYS. It's just a mnemonic to help you out. So any word to remember would be great. Spelling that because is an easy way too. So we had before, even if, or just if. Comma, don't touch me. After, until, since, and even when, or just when. You could have even though, you could have as. So there's lots of other ones. I hope this helps. We have an activity where I'm going to have you go through a worksheet. And if you don't understand, I'll just circle it and send you back. And then you can fill it in again, fill it in again, fill it in again, until you've got an A+. Now the hard part is going to your paper now and making those changes effectively using those comma rules. Here's what I would suggest. If you know that you use the word and connecting sentences, do Control F, your find feature, Control F on your computer, and put in space and space. That way it won't do words like sand or band or whatever. So put a space, the word, and a space, and Control find it. And then you can look at every and in your paper. If you use so, do the same thing. Space, so, space. If you use because, that one you could probably just write because. If you use after, you can do the find feature for those. And you can double check all of those rules and make sure that they're perfect. So that's a really good shortcut for your own paper. You'll get this. If you have any questions I can help, like, is this a sentence? Feel free to ask me. I taught English for 15 years, my first job, plus a lot of years after, and I'm more than happy to help you. I love commas. Have a great day. Thank you.